Hey, and welcome to Astrology for the People. This is for the new moon in Libra on Saturday the 1st of October at 10:15 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So, wow, I'm really excited to share with you guys today. This is an interesting chart, and it felt really important to read it in the context of what we've just emerged out of. So we've just emerged out of eclipse season. We had this final lunar eclipse in Pisces, and we really saw this big clearing out period that I spoke about last fortnight, this time where there was a real need to surrender and open and let go. And now with this new moon in Libra, we're seeing a time for visioning, but there's some interesting dynamics operating around how our vision is going to manifest in the world and the different forces that we're going to need to connect with in order to be creating what we want in a way that's actually grounded and practical and realistic. So I'm going to dive in for you. I want to go into the aspects a little bit today because it's quite kind of clear cut, which is a nice change from the very vague Piscean energy that we were in a fortnight ago. We've got Jupiter within 4 degrees of this new moon. So, Jupiter's expansive, Jupiter's yummy. This is the first thing I saw when I opened the chart up, and I was like, hey, good news. But there's a little more to it than that. So Jupiter makes anything that it touches bigger. And in Libra, this is a couple of things, Libra is our need for balance, but Libra is also our desire for the finer things in life. So while we have Jupiter conjunct this new moon, and we also have a trine between Venus and Neptune, it is really important that we're careful to avoid excess. So we can think that, yes, if I live in an abundant mindset, I will create abundance, so I'm going to spend and trust. And yes, there's value in that, but it's a really important time at the moment to also connect with the Saturn and the Capricorn energy, and Saturn is the quiet player in this chart. So we have got this Saturn-Neptune square that's playing out until the end of 2017, and what we see with that is this conflict between our ideals and our limitless vision and the realities of the third dimensional world. Things take time, we have a limited amount of resources at any given moment, and we need to work within that boundary, within that framework. Now, the alchemy in this, the magic and the potential in this, is to realize that that container that Saturn actually creates amplifies the power of Jupiter by holding it. So it's a time when it's really important that we hold our vision and we hold ourselves, and we recognize that in the physical world, our bodies, this world, is holding us. And when things move slowly, they're not necessarily happening as quickly as we'd like. This is actually in our own best interest, because too much power, too much energy, too much overflowing isn't going to actually serve us on the deepest level. It's like a, careful what you wish for almost at the moment. So coming out of this clearing time and into this new moon, it is a really awesome, potent time to vision the next 6 months. So we're not just visioning the lunar month ahead, even though every new moon is a good time to do that. It's a great time to do that. We really are visioning the 6 months ahead, what kind of lifestyle we want, how we want our life to look. However, it's important we really do that from a realistic space. There is a time for letting all of the limitations float away and visioning the enormity of what's possible. But the reality is, if you invest too much in that in the moment and you hook into that, it's going to create frustration, it's going to create stress and tension. So it's important to really honor this Mars in Capricorn that we have as well, that's also square this new moon, which is saying we need to be a little bit responsible here. We need to consider the future here. It might be a good time to put a little bit of money away rather than just spending. It doesn't mean hoarding out of fear. It just means recognizing the realities of the world and putting just that little bit aside, that little bit of a nest egg aside. If that's something that you haven't done before, that could be a really supportive thing to do at the moment. We really want to harness the energy of this Jupiter. And like I said, we need this container to do that. Otherwise, we're just going to overflow and it's not going to be constructive. So to harness this Jupiter energy, we want to connect with our sense of balance, our sense of, yes, we have arrived. Yes, we can choose to live the life we want right now. And we are in a world where time and resources are these things that we kind of dance with and navigate on a daily basis. So I encourage you to connect in with that. The other side of the Mars in Capricorn is this tendency to push and drive and really work hard. And it's a great energy to draw on, but that Jupiter in Libra and the Sun and New Moon in Libra are going to remind us as well to come back into balance. So I've really been noticing the pace picking up as we've come out of this eclipse period. And it's important to take a moment to breathe. Now, I am the #1 person who needs to do that. Just stop and take a moment. I'll invite you to join me because I need to do this right now. Take a moment to feel your feet. Let this groundedness hold you right here. And then breathe up from your base, from the earth. Let the breath come down deep into the belly. Really connect with the soles of your feet. And let the breath be your starting point. So when you feel yourself rushing, rather than trying to slow your physical body down, start with the breath and the body will follow. Interestingly enough, it's all air and earth at play in this chart. And this is the square as well of the new moon in Libra, which is, you know, it's very mental, it's very airy, it's quick thinking, it's talking. And then Mars in Capricorn saying, okay, to actually implement this on a practical level, it's going to be one step at a time. And we need to slow down and do this thoroughly. Draw on that Saturn energy, draw on our maturity, and recognize that there is time. Take our time, do things well, do things once. That can be a mantra for this new moon, both with visioning and with implementation. Do it well, do it once. And then draw on what we've learned from this Pisces eclipse and hand it over. Keep taking steps, but detaching from the outcome. And I spoke about this last fortnight. It's really valuable at the moment. So there's one more thing that I want to share with you guys, but I'm taking another breath before I do that. Are you ready? Feel free to join me. I want to tell you guys to get outside too, but I'm pretty sure I tell you that every fortnight. Okay, so the last big piece in this chart that I want to connect with you on in this video is the Mercury Chiron opposition within 2 degrees. So Chiron's in Pisces, which means Mercury must be down in Virgo unless I've missed something significant. And what we see in an opposition is it's like each of these entities arriving at a coffee shop and sitting down opposite each other at the table. And there's a conversation that needs to happen. Now, Mercury is conversation anyway. Mercury is communication. So there's a real verbal theme here, as well as the logical mind coming into play and a sense of intentionality, becoming really intentional in our conversation with our core wounding, which is Chiron. So if you've been quite passive in your process recently and just kind of letting things tick through and feeling things through, there is massive value in that. Do not get me wrong, I love that approach and really letting things move through the body. But now is a time when it's important to be really intentional in examining what needs to clear here, what you're working through, looking at it in a logical way, in the most logical way that you can look at human emotion, which, you know, is vastly illogical in a lot of ways. So I really encourage you to enter into dialogue with what's coming up for you. Use the tool which is our logical mind that we've been given. It's one of the enormous gifts, and the reason that we have such great capacity to grow and evolve in this life is because of this ability to self-reflect, this ability to metacognize what's going on. So sit down and have a good hard look and have a chat with what's going on. Pardon me. And this is going to support the continuation of this shifting in a really empowered way. So this might actually look like a conversation, literally a conversation where you sit down and you connect with what you're feeling and you start to speak to it. You actually speak to it. Oh, wow, I'm feeling really anxious. Hey there, anxiety. What's going on? And this not only really opens up the channels for any messages that energy is trying to deliver coming through, but also it puts you straight into that objective space. You become the witness, you become the watcher of what's happening, and you're no longer identified with it. This is where our logical mind holds an enormous amount of value. Now we have to be aware, there's this other piece there where we don't actually then become identified with the logical mind, right? Because that's how we get into overthinking monkey mind, and we invest a lot in what that logical mind is saying. This is the tool of our awareness. This is the tool of our consciousness that rests in what my beautiful friend Bree calls the back room. So it's when we sit back and we stop and we have a look at what's going on and we start to facilitate this conversation for ourselves that we can create a lot of progress. It's like if there's a conflict happening in the workplace, you can just keep playing it out quietly and kind of thinking about it and exploring it. But if you really want to make progress, you have to sit down and actually talk with the person. And this is the point that a lot of people are reaching now. They're realizing that we have to become more intentional. If we want to really take an empowered role in our own growth and our own evolution, sitting back and letting it kind of play out isn't always going to cut it. Sometimes we really need to step up and show up and have that conversation with ourselves or with another person, whether that's in conflict with them or whether that's them supporting us. Sometimes we just need to sound it out. So I really encourage you to do that. Reach out wherever that feels supportive. Of course, I'm here if that feels nourishing. I'm really diving into the conscious relationship coaching at the moment. So I actually have an awesome goodie that I'm really excited to tell you guys about. So I've written a mini ebook entitled The Awakened Women's Guide to Empowered Relationships. And it's 8 juicy pages with 11 key concepts that we can implement right away to start shifting our relationship with relationship and claiming our power back rather than displacing that and going into blame, control, dependency, whatever it is that, kind of floats your boat and is tied in with your core wounding. So this is all really relevant right now. I encourage you to download it. I'll include the link underneath this video. If you are on my email list, you will receive it in your inbox because obviously you're already subscribed, so you won't need to resubscribe. And yeah, have a look at that. And yeah, really integrate and start working with some of that stuff if it feels supportive for you, because it's really going to be amping up this relationship journey with the new moon in Libra. That's the other kind of obvious elephant in the room that comes in a new moon in Libra chart is, yes, relationships are front and center, guys. And if it's not working for you and something needs to shift, then it's time to take charge, not of the situation, but of yourself. This isn't about control, it's about empowerment of self and grounding and realizing that in every moment we have a choice. It reminds me of my early videos where I'm all charged and excited. I'm feeling really pumped at the moment. So I think I'm going to go and do some dancing on the grass maybe and discharge some of this energy before I get into the rest of my day so I can level my system out. I invite you to do the same. I will be dancing with you in spirit. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a look on the site. See if there's anything that I'm offering that feels supportive. I would love to connect. I'm thriving on this work at the moment, and yeah, I'd love to dive in with you and see what we can shift, because there is magic happening and I definitely don't want to miss it. So much love. Have a beautiful day and I will see you very soon. Bye.